What if everything you thought you knew about nursing homes was wrong? Could entering one change your life or the life of someone you love in ways you never imagined? Meet Ellen, an 80-year-old woman with a story that unveils the hidden truths of nursing home life. From surprising costs to emotional challenges, Ellen's first-hand experience reveals what many people overlook when making this life-changing decision. Her insights could open your eyes and help you or your loved ones avoid unnecessary hardships. Whether you're considering a nursing home or just curious, what you'll discover today might completely transform your perspective. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more essential advice for seniors. Now, let's dive into one of the most profound impacts of nursing homes, the emotional toll of losing independence. When Ellen first entered the nursing home, she thought it would be a peaceful retreat, a place where she could relax, meet new friends, and enjoy her golden years without the burden of daily chores. But within weeks, reality set in, and it wasn't what she had imagined. Simple decisions, ones she had taken for granted her entire life, were no longer hers to make. I used to decide when I wanted to wake up, what I'd eat for breakfast, or even whether I felt like going outside for some fresh air, Ellen shared, her voice tinged with frustration. Suddenly, someone else was in charge of my schedule. It felt like I was back in grade school, asking permission for everything. What began as small annoyances soon became a daily struggle. Ellen's meals were served at fixed times, whether she was hungry or not. If she wanted to take a walk or read in the garden, she had to wait for an available staff member to assist her. Days started to blur together, and Ellen began to feel like a guest in her own life rather than the person in charge of it. Over time, these seemingly minor inconveniences chipped away at Ellen's sense of identity. I felt like a child again, she admitted. I wasn't Ellen, the independent woman who raised 3 kids and worked a full-time job. I was just another resident, another name on the staff's checklist. This loss of autonomy took a toll on her self-esteem. She began doubting her own abilities, even in areas where she was perfectly capable. The emotional weight didn't stop there. Ellen's sense of dependence started affecting her mental health. She often felt anxious about asking for help, worried that she was inconveniencing others. Some days, she avoided asking altogether, opting to stay in her room instead. The isolation grew, and with it came feelings of sadness and even bouts of depression. I never realized how much control over my daily life meant to me until it was gone, she said. It's not just about freedom, it's about dignity. Ellen's experience isn't unique. Studies show that losing autonomy can have lasting mental and physical effects on seniors. A 2023 study from the Journal of Aging Research found that seniors who feel a lack of control over their routines are more likely to experience depression and cognitive decline. The ripple effect of losing independence often extends beyond mental health, contributing to physical issues like decreased mobility and overall weakness. But Ellen's story doesn't end with her feeling defeated. Over time, she learned ways to regain a sense of control, even within the structured environment of a nursing home. With the help of her daughter, Ellen began to implement small but meaningful changes that transformed her daily life. The first step was personalizing her space. I brought items from home that made me feel more like myself, Ellen explained. She hung family photos on her walls, added a cozy throw blanket to her chair, and displayed her favorite books on a small shelf by her bed. These small touches reminded her of her identity outside the nursing home and gave her a sense of comfort and familiarity. Another strategy was setting small, achievable goals each day. I started by focusing on one thing I could control, Ellen said. Some days that meant choosing an outfit that made her feel confident, even if no one else noticed. Other days it was deciding to spend 10 minutes outside in the garden, even if she needed assistance to get there. Over time, these small victories added up and gave Ellen a renewed sense of agency in her life. Ellen also worked with her family to create a weekly routine that balanced the nursing home schedule with her personal preferences. Her daughter coordinated visits during Ellen's favorite times of day, ensuring she had moments to look forward to each week. Together, they spoke with the nursing home staff to address specific concerns, like adjusting Ellen's wake-up time to better match her natural sleep rhythm. Through these efforts, Ellen began to feel more like herself again. She realized that while she couldn't control everything, she still had the power to shape her experience. For seniors or their loved ones navigating similar challenges, Ellen's advice is simple but powerful. Don't hesitate to advocate for your needs. You have to speak up, she said. The staff is there to help, but they don't know what you need unless you tell them. Maintaining independence in a nursing home is about more than just practical adjustments. It's about preserving the dignity and self-worth that comes from being in control of your own life. Ellen's story is a reminder that even in a structured environment, small actions can make a big difference. When Ellen and her daughter Laura first toured the nursing home, everything seemed straightforward. The staff had assured them that the monthly fee covered all essential services, meals, accommodations, and basic care. It felt like a weight lifted off Laura's shoulders. She wanted the best for her mother, and knowing the finances seemed manageable gave her peace of mind. But as the months went by, Laura quickly discovered that the reality was far more complicated and expensive than she had anticipated. The first surprise came when Mom needed help with physical therapy, Laura explained. The staff told me that therapy sessions were an extra charge and not a small one. I assumed it was part of the care package, but apparently it wasn't. The additional charges began piling up one by one. Medication management, something Ellen required daily, came with its own monthly fee. On top of that, mobility aids like a new walker and specialized shoes were deemed extras and needed to be purchased separately. Then there were the smaller, less obvious expenses that no one had mentioned during the initial tour. Transportation costs for doctor's appointments, personal toiletries, and even snacks outside of standard mealtimes, all of these fell on Laura to cover. By the third month, I realized we were spending almost twice as much as the original quote, Laura said. It wasn't just a financial strain, it was emotionally draining trying to figure out how to make it work. Ellen felt the weight of these costs too. I hated feeling like a burden, she said softly. Laura was already doing so much for me, and seeing her stressed about money made me feel guilty. This guilt wasn't unique to Ellen. Many seniors feel similarly when their families struggle to cover the hidden costs of nursing homes. What made the situation worse was how unexpected these expenses were. Like most families, Laura had relied on the nursing home's brochures and the staff's verbal assurances to understand the financial commitment. But the fine print told a different story. I went back and looked at the contract after the fact, and there it was. All these extra charges buried in legal jargon I hadn't paid close attention to, Laura admitted. The financial strain also created tough decisions for Laura and her siblings. Should they cut back on some of Ellen's optional services, like additional physical therapy or extra comfort items, to stay within budget? It felt like we were always compromising, Laura said. Do we prioritize her health, her comfort, or our family's finances? Ellen and Laura's experience is a harsh but common reality for many families navigating nursing home care. According to a 2024 study by the National Senior Living Association, nearly 60% of families report being surprised by hidden costs within the first year of moving a loved one into a nursing home. For families facing this challenge, preparation is key. One of the most important steps is thorough research before making a decision. Ellen and Laura wish they had asked more questions during their initial visits. We should have been clearer about what the monthly fee really covered, Laura said. Asking detailed questions, such as whether medication management, therapy, or personal care services are included, can save families from future surprises. Another crucial step is reading contracts and brochures carefully. This might sound tedious, but understanding the fine print can prevent major financial stress down the road. If any part of the contract is unclear, it's worth consulting with an expert or asking the facility directly for clarification. Family financial planning is another important layer of preparation. After realizing the strain they were under, Laura sat down with her siblings to reassess their budget. They pooled resources, cut back on unnecessary expenses, and even consulted a financial advisor who specialized in elder care. It wasn't easy, but having a plan made us feel more in control, Laura shared. Ellen also found ways to contribute. Though she couldn't work, she made small adjustments to reduce costs, like cutting back on non-essential items and finding ways to stay engaged with free activities at the nursing home. For families just beginning this journey, Ellen and Laura have one piece of advice: leave no stone unturned. Don't assume anything, Laura warned. Ask about every potential cost, even the ones that seem insignificant. And most importantly, talk to other residents and their families. They'll tell you the things the staff won't. Despite the challenges, Ellen and Laura found a way to navigate the financial maze together. By staying proactive and transparent, they turned what felt like an overwhelming burden into a manageable plan. For families considering a nursing home, their story is a reminder. While the hidden costs can be daunting, being informed and prepared can make all the difference. When Ellen moved into the nursing home, she felt optimistic about starting a new chapter. She imagined forming friendships, joining activities, and finding a sense of community. But as the weeks passed, her initial hope began to fade. Conversations with other residents felt shallow, and many seemed too preoccupied with their own challenges to engage meaningfully. "I thought it would feel like a family," Ellen said, "but instead, I felt invisible." She started skipping group activities because they only reminded her of how disconnected she felt. "I'd sit in the corner, hoping someone would notice me, but no one ever did," Ellen admitted. Over time, she began spending most of her days in her room, retreating from the world outside her door. Ellen's growing isolation took a heavy toll. "It wasn't just loneliness," she shared. "It felt like I was disappearing." She started losing interest in things she once loved, like knitting and reading, and began sleeping poorly. Her daughter, Laura, noticed the change during phone calls. "She didn't sound like herself," Laura said. "It was heartbreaking to hear her so withdrawn." Research confirms that Ellen's experience is far from unique. According to a 2023 study by the National Institute on Aging, nearly half of nursing home residents experience chronic loneliness. This isn't just an emotional struggle, it's a health risk. Seniors facing long-term isolation are more likely to suffer from depression, cognitive decline, and even physical deterioration. Social isolation has been linked to weakened immune systems and a higher risk of heart disease. Ellen's physical health began to decline as well. She felt increasingly weak and unsteady on her feet, often choosing to avoid walking unless absolutely necessary. "The less I moved, the worse I felt," she said. The cycle of isolation and inactivity deepened her fatigue and made her feel even more helpless. Thankfully, Ellen found a way to turn things around with the support of her daughter. Laura started visiting more often, sometimes bringing Ellen's grandchildren and their family dog. "Seeing them gave me something to look forward to," Ellen said. These moments reminded her that she still had a place in her family's life. Ellen also began taking small steps to reconnect with others at the nursing home. Instead of avoiding group activities, she attended a smaller craft class where she met Margaret, another resident who shared her love of knitting. "Margaret changed everything," Ellen said. "Having just one person to talk to made all the difference." Laura also worked with the nursing home staff to encourage better engagement programs. The facility started hosting smaller, more interactive activities and even organized events involving local school children. These initiatives gave Ellen and other residents more opportunities to form meaningful connections. Ellen's advice to others is simple but powerful. Don't give up. It's easy to feel like isolation is permanent, but it doesn't have to be, she said. For seniors, even small actions, like attending an activity or saying hello to a neighbor, can be transformative. Families, too, can make a big impact by visiting regularly or advocating for better social opportunities. Loneliness feels heavy, Ellen reflected, but with the right support, you can lift that weight and feel connected again. When Ellen and her daughter Laura chose a nursing home, they thought they'd found the perfect place. The facility was clean, the gardens were beautiful, and the staff seemed friendly during their initial tour. But within weeks of Ellen moving in, the cracks began to show. The staff always seemed rushed, Ellen recalled. If I needed help, I often had to wait, sometimes for what felt like hours. What Ellen and Laura hadn't realized was that the facility was understaffed, a problem that became clear only after Ellen moved in. Communication was another issue. When I asked about changes to my care plan or medication, it felt like no one had the answers, Ellen said. These frustrations added to her stress and made the transition harder than it needed to be. Ellen's experience is a reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and not all nursing homes are created equal. Thorough research is crucial to finding a facility that meets the needs of both residents and their families. One important step is visiting a nursing home multiple times and at different hours of the day. What seems perfect during a polished tour might look very different in the evening or on weekends when staffing levels are lower. Talking to current residents and their families can also provide valuable insights that brochures and sales pitches won't reveal. I wish I'd spoken to other families before making a decision, Laura said. They could have told me what day-to-day life was really like. Checking state inspection reports is another key step. These reports highlight any past violations or ongoing issues, giving families a clearer picture of the facility's quality. Many states provide this information online, making it accessible to anyone doing their research. Online resources like Medicare's Nursing Home Compare tool can also help families evaluate and compare options. In addition, community recommendations, such as advice from local support groups or elder care professionals, can offer valuable guidance. Ellen's experience taught her and Laura a hard but important lesson. The right nursing home isn't just about appearances. It's about understanding the details, asking the right questions, and taking the time to make an informed choice. Don't rush the decision, Ellen advised. A little extra effort up front can save you a lot of heartache later. Before moving into a nursing home, Ellen and her daughter Laura didn't seriously consider other options. At the time, it seemed like the best solution for Ellen's increasing needs. However, after experiencing the challenges and hidden struggles of nursing home life, they realized that exploring alternatives might have led to a better outcome. Laura reflected on how overwhelmed she felt when managing her mother's care at home. I thought a nursing home was our only option, she said, but I wish I had known more about the different types of support available. Many families face this same dilemma, assuming that a nursing home is the inevitable step once caregiving becomes too difficult. However, there are other approaches that can provide quality care while preserving a senior's independence and comfort. One family Laura met through a local support group shared their experience with in-home care services. Mary, a 78-year-old widow, began struggling with daily tasks after a minor stroke. Her daughter, Emily, wanted to avoid the upheaval of moving Mary into a facility. Instead, they hired an in-home care provider who visited daily to help Mary with meals, bathing, and light housekeeping. It was the best decision we could have made, Emily said. Mom got to stay in her own home, surrounded by everything familiar, and it gave me peace of mind, knowing she had professional help. Adult day programs are another overlooked option. These programs provide seniors with structured activities, meals, and social interaction during the day, while allowing them to return home in the evening. They're particularly beneficial for families who work full-time but want to keep their loved ones at home as long as possible. Ellen's neighbor, Tom, used one of these programs for his wife, who had dementia. She enjoyed the activities, and it gave me a chance to rest and recharge, he explained. For seniors who don't require constant medical attention but could benefit from a supportive community, assisted living facilities can be a middle ground. These facilities provide help with daily activities like dressing and medication while offering more independence than nursing homes. Unlike nursing homes, assisted living centers often feel less clinical, with private apartments and social opportunities. After her experience with the nursing home, Laura began researching these alternatives in more depth. She discovered organizations like the National Association for Home Care and Hospice, NAHC, and AARP, which offer extensive resources for families exploring elder care options. These websites provide directories of in-home care providers, financial assistance programs, and reviews of local services. Ellen wished they'd looked into these resources earlier. "I didn't know there were so many ways to get help without leaving home," she said. For families considering alternatives, it's essential to start researching early, ideally before a crisis forces a quick decision. Reflecting on her experience, Laura shared her advice. Take the time to weigh every option, talk to others who've been through it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's hiring an in-home caregiver, enrolling in a day program, or exploring assisted living, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. But with careful planning and the right support, families can find an approach that fits their loved one's needs while maintaining dignity and quality of life. Ellen's story is a reminder that alternatives to nursing homes are worth considering. With so many options available, the right choice might be closer and more feasible than families realize. Ellen's story is a powerful reminder that entering a nursing home is not just a simple choice. It's a life-changing decision that deserves careful thought. From the emotional toll of losing independence to the financial burdens and risks of isolation, understanding these impacts is essential for making informed decisions. Exploring alternatives and advocating for the right care can help preserve dignity and improve quality of life for seniors. What are your thoughts or experiences with nursing homes? Share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more valuable insights on senior living.